Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Welcome back to the show. We are excited to have our next guest joining us, Haley Carbajal, always here, always a pleasure, on time and ready to roar. There's so many different ways to describe her. Let me have her introduce herself today. And I know we're going to break down some limiting beliefs and why you don't need them because you can do more, you could do better. She's going to tell you. Haley, tell us a little bit about what you do.
Yes, so I am a spiritual mentor and coach. I help those overcome fear, stagnation, and lack of direction in their lives so that they can vibrationally align to their higher calling or their soul's purpose.
Beautiful. And how do we contact you?
You are free to contact me at 5stepstoalignment.com, spelled out FIVE. And I'm highly active on Instagram. And again, FIVE, 5 steps to alignment.
All right. Well, excited to have you back as always. And you're always raring to go. And today you wanted to talk about limiting beliefs, which is huge because
Yes.
we all have them. And I'm sure you would admit you still have limiting beliefs or no? Are you that
Yes. Oh my
healed?
gosh, no.
Okay. Okay. I'm like, she's perfect. No, no one's
No,
perfect, ladies and gentlemen. And it's okay. So explain to us
it's
the
true.
concept and how this can affect us and wear on
Yeah.
us.
Yeah, well, actually, so if I want to speak as to how to move past them, because I believe that everybody is aware that they have limiting
Yep.
beliefs, especially if they have even a sliver of self-awareness. And I want to talk about why it's sometimes so hard to move past them. So if you don't pay attention to this little nuance, it will hold you back.
Yep.
So when you first awaken or you first really discover that, there's a greater life for you or there's more for you to do or there's more that you want to be,
Mm-hmm.
we come face to face with those limiting beliefs, right? And what I find a pattern in all of my newly awakened, excited, bubblegum starseed clients is that they have trouble accepting that their limiting beliefs are serving them somehow, which is why we hold on to them. Okay, so I want to explain to you how this occurs. So, our subconscious mind is very primal and it does not hold on to anything that does not serve us, protect us, or keep us safe somehow. So, for an example, if you have a belief that money doesn't grow on trees, we're like, I don't want to believe that. Why would I want to believe that?
Yeah.
Well, it's probably protecting you or keeping you safe somehow because the underlying, not only was it taught to you, and that's like this BS cliche thing that we've been taught growing up our whole lives, it is actually protecting you in a way, just hypothetically, that then if you know that money doesn't grow on trees, then you know that you have to go out and work hard for your money, which is also a false belief. Money
Yeah.
doesn't, you don't have to work hard
Oh,
in
yeah.
order to receive money. Or it's protecting you because if you have that belief,
Mm-hmm.
then you can make sure that you're always holding on to it. You're always
So true.
saving it, right? So even in the beliefs that I don't know, Jill, you talk to a lot of people. What is one of the beliefs that you've seen in your reality with others that you know is like a limiting belief that majority of people have?
Just I'm not good enough. I can't do that. I can't apply for that job. It's a lot of I'm not good enough.
Mhm.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
self-doubt about, work, but also even about our bodies, right? The pressure to look good or I'm fat. I can't be in a bathing suit. I don't, yeah, body image is huge, I'd say. And limiting your beliefs and what you can or cannot do, which I think about career wise, a lot of my friends, but it's a fear. And I have it too. So I'm speaking from me as well.
Yep. I have the body image thing, the swimsuit thing, all that. So let's go there because that's
Good.
mutual territory,
Yeah.
right? So we would be like, our initial response, if I said, how is that serving you to hold on to that belief? You'd be like, well, it's not. I don't
Yep.
want to think and feel this way about myself. I
Mhm.
don't want to perceive myself this
Yep.
way or feel this way about myself. When in reality, if you just think about the subtext or
Mm.
underlying definition and meaning of that,
Yep.
that belief of, I'm not ready to be in a swimsuit, or I'm still holding on to fat, or I'm not the way that I want to look yet, that is probably the unconscious motivator to make sure that you take care of yourself, the unconscious motivator to make sure that you do go to the gym or that you do hold certain measurements. Does
Yep.
that make sense? So even in our limiting beliefs, even though we don't want them, maybe we didn't choose them, all of these things, doesn't really matter where they came from. It is imperative that you have the acceptance that this limiting belief is serving you somehow. And then it is your responsibility to identify why this belief is serving you,
Yeah.
so that then you can let it go. And really, the process of this is not challenging.
Nope.
It's actually, what I find is that people kind of look over this
Mhm.
little thing, and
Yep.
that's why they don't make changes or see real change in their reality. Because if
Ugh.
you're either going to set aside the time for it doesn't even need to be spiritual. Let's just let that word go, right? For this little practice
Okay.
of identifying and releasing and letting go so it doesn't
Mhm.
unconsciously control you,
Yep.
or you're going to make time for the reality that you don't want. You're going to continue. So you're either going to make the time to be very conscious and choose what you want to believe in and choose what you want to see and perceive yourself as in this reality, or even see and perceive life itself, or you're going to make time for the reality that you're in now, because
Okay.
you have a choice, right?
Mhm.
You can say, I no longer want to hold on to these beliefs. And anybody can say that. Everybody says that in their day-to-day life. Are you actually going to do it? And
True.
that's what I mean. Forgive me if I wasn't clear in that.
No.
But that's what I mean. And you have the choice to actually make the time and space in your life. Doesn't have to be 15 minutes. It can literally be a 30-second conversation
Yeah.
within, right? So you either make the time for the practices of letting go, optimizing, releasing, or by not doing that, you are automatically choosing the reality
Mhm.
that you're living in
Ooh.
now.
Yeah. How do we get out of it though? Like, how do you get out of it? How do you work with someone to get this underlying belief out of your system in a sense?
So there are some beliefs that can just go just like that, because once you realize that it doesn't make sense, then it's like, well, why am I holding on to that if I don't need it?
Yeah.
There's the other aspect of it where some programs, aka beliefs, are so deeply ingrained where it is a process of letting these things go. And it kind of speaks to what we spoke about maybe last week or 2 weeks ago. When that old belief comes up,
Yep.
so what? So what if it comes up? Like, the more that you're like, oh no, why is this coming up? Why am I still feeling this? What's wrong with me? Which I have done, sometimes still do, right? Um, and things that I'm working through, that is when we keep this thing that we don't want alive. And so if we could just say, so what? Who cares?
Mhm.
Thank you for coming into my conscious awareness. Because if it's still in the subconscious mind, it's controlling our unconscious behaviors and
Yeah.
decisions. So therefore, we're not aware that the program is running. However, when it comes to the conscious mind, that is actually a gift, because it is showing you that as you are ready to release it, it's showing that you are in a different state of being, consciousness, and vibration. And it must be a conscious decision in order for that belief to be removed. So when it does surface up into your reality, instead of being, woe is me, say thank you,
Yeah.
and then let it go. And then just ask yourself, literally, how is this serving me? If that question doesn't work, ask, how is this protecting me or keeping me safe somehow? And then when you can identify that, then you can realize that, oh, well, I can be motivated to work out without holding on to this belief in order to do so, because I enjoy
Okay.
working out, because at the end of it, I always feel better about myself. I love the way that when I reach a certain
Mhm.
level in my fitness, that I am comfortable in my body, that I can put out an outfit and be like, damn, look at
I look
me.
good. I
You
look hot.
know, yes,
Smoking.
that could be the motivator, right?
Yeah.
Instead of, oh my gosh, I need to look a certain way, or oh my gosh, I'm storing fat here, here, and here. Why is this still there? So this also is in connection to, what are the definitions and meanings that you are giving to what you're going through.
Yeah.
Now, because this is said so often, it's oversaturated and it's losing its really deep meaning.
Yeah.
When people say these things, I mean, if they're people like me, when people say these things, it's not because it's light and it's fluffy and it's magical. It's like, just pay attention to the meanings and definitions that you're giving, right? It's actually because if you
Yeah.
apply it, it will change your life. If we find out cosmically in some place, sometime, that it was absolutely meaningless to give different definitions, then so be it. But what I will tell you is that if you specifically choose and how to define what is going on in your reality, you will feel better. And ultimately, that is what matters, is that you
Interesting.
feel better. Right? Who cares if there's this huge, I love the ripple effect, right? But who cares if it has this huge ripple effect? Sometimes that's like overwhelming for people to think about. What is the state of being that you prefer to be in,
Yeah.
honestly? What is the state of being that you prefer to be in?
Happiness, calm, peace, relaxation, happy. That's
Yeah.
just my answer. Uh,
Yeah. Well, and exactly, right? So then choose a meaning or a definition that would support that. Literally this weekend, I went down to the valley. I went down to Phoenix. My
oh,
car started overheating, which is random because it's a relatively new car, and it started overheating, and I could have been pissed off. I could have been angry. I could have been like, why is the universe punishing me? But I know that if whatever definition I give
hmm.
is going to be the outcome that I extract from that experience.
Wow.
So I chose my definitions in the way that I prefer, the reality want to experience, the outcome I want to experience, right? And therefore it does have a ripple effect. Like it really does. But what I'm trying to convey here is that I could have let that been bad. I could have let that mean this, that, or the other thing. I could have been angry at the dealership. I could have been angry at creation, the universe, God, spirit. I could have been angry wherever, however, in every single way. But I know that I choose the definition actually, that there is a higher purpose, higher meaning to what I'm going through. And it is my responsibility to perceive that. And therefore, that will be the outcome that I receive. Now, I'm going to the Land Rover dealership tomorrow. So maybe we could touch base on that next week on how that all plays out. Right. But,
Nice.
but when you realize that this external stimulus,
Yeah.
the simulation is not the thing that triggers you. It's the things
Yeah.
within that allow yourself to be triggered. Then, while most people don't want to take that responsibility, that therein is where your freedom lies. Because that actually happened on Mother's Day.
Oh
That
my
car could
gosh.
have ruined Mother's Day.
Yeah.
But I chose not to let it do that. And I'm not saying this, oh my gosh, look how holy I am. I'm not saying it in that way. What I'm saying is that you have this available to you too. And it is in the limiting beliefs that either you can't do that, or that's hard, or that's only for spiritual people, or
Hmm.
whatever have you,
I
that you
get it.
keep yourself in that lower state of being and consciousness, which is cutting you off from that happiness, cutting you off from that sense of fulfillment. There's this great saying, I don't know
Yeah.
the original person who said this, but if you continue to fight for your limitations, then you get to keep them.
Say that one more time. When you say
If
say
you
it.
if you continue to fight for your limitations, aka excuses.
Okay, got it, got it, got it.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I throw a lot of information out here at one time. Um, so by that meaning, let's go back to the body image example. If you continue to fight for, I need to hold on to this belief that I'm fat in order to work out, or I need to hold on to this belief that I'm not where I want to be yet, or if I continue to hold on to this belief that I'm not
Yep,
in a swimsuit yet, you get to keep those. And so
yep,
that will be your unconscious way of decision making, which will actually not make your workouts as effective because you're being in a space of scarcity and insecurity, which was not powerful motivators. It will mess up your form. You won't get as good of a workout as you would
yeah.
have liked to. You're in your head. You see somebody else at the gym. It's like, damn, I would love that
Wow, that
body.
body. Mhm.
Exactly. And so you're actually preventing yourself from having the fullest expansion of you. Now, if you say, I no longer want those to be my motivators, it's really just simply because I love the feeling of working out. I love the feeling of accomplishment that I have when I'm done. And I love the way I feel after consistent workouts, after a consistent clean eating of the way that I look. And that is what's going to motivate me. Then you are in a space of inspiration. Then you are in a space of empowerment. And then it's
Got
like,
it.
you have this extra fuel at the gym that you didn't know that you had, right?
Yeah.
So what I would love the audience to take away from this is not frou-frou, willy-nilly BS. Like seriously, if you don't understand this or accept this now, you're going to continue to struggle.
Yep.
You have to accept that your limiting beliefs are serving you somehow. And then once you understand
Stand
that,
that. Okay.
then it's your responsibility to identify why it is serving you so that you can choose a different motivator, choose a different reality, choose a different meaning, choose a different definition. Does that make sense?
It does. It does.
Did you have a
Remind
question?
us how we can contact you. I'm just sorry, I just looked at the clock. No, this is
It's
great.
okay.
We just want to keep rolling. But if you're tuning in now, you're like, who's this amazing woman? Tell us, Haley, how we contact you.
5stepstoalignment.com, FIVE. And then on
So,
Instagram, I'm very active, 5 steps to alignment.
perfect. All right. Thanks so much. So, limiting beliefs is the topic. And, I'm sure you're dealing with a lot of, women. We were just talking about bathing suits. What about, what do you find with men? Is there are they body conscious too? I mean, what else in particular are you
Yeah.
noticing are some limiting beliefs mostly? What is it, what do most people need help with?
Well, men definitely do struggle with self-image as well. But really, what I'm finding for those who want to change their life and then come up against the reality of changing their life, the main belief is that this is too hard. This does not have to be hard. Is it a
Okay.
challenge? Yes. But challenges don't always have to be hard. Think of an exciting challenge that
Okay.
you've had, whether it be like you were inspired to run a 5K, but it was a good thing, not a bad thing, right? Or when you were challenged to move up in your career and that excited you. It was a reason, a purpose to get up in the morning,
Yeah.
right? Challenges don't always have to equal density and hardship. You challenge yourself at the gym, right? That
Mm-hmm.
can be thrilling. Mental chess when you're flirting, that's a
Yeah.
challenge, but that's
Yeah. Yeah.
exciting and fun, right? So it doesn't have to be hard. Remember, pain is resistance to the natural self. If it feels heavy, it is not yours to carry. So if it feels heavy within you, that means that it's not naturally yours. It's not the organic self. So you just let it go.
Okay.
And there's so many, we don't have enough time to go into all the reasons
I
why
know.
it's so hard to let go.
Mhm.
You know, but it doesn't have to be hard. I think it boils down to falling in love with the process. It really is about so again, I just heard this come through. What is the definition or meaning that you're giving about your inner work? Are you defining it as a challenge? Are you defining it as hard? Are you well, not the challenge, but defining it as hard or I forget the other word that I'm looking for. Let's just go with hard right now. If
Okay.
you define it that way, then that is exactly the outcome you're going to extract from it. But if you can say, I'm choosing to define it as I am going to fall in love with the process, that this is happening for me, not to me, that this is actually a gift. Anytime I get triggered, I look at it as a gift. This is actually a gift because it's showing me where I am not free, then you're going to extract that outcome from what you're doing.
Got it. Interesting. All right. We still have more time to chat. Okay. What else did you want to make sure we talk about with limiting beliefs? Did you want to share some more examples, talk about some clients, or what's still on the agenda for our limiting beliefs and how you can fix us?
Well, I don't fix anybody.
I
You
know you
fix
fix
you.
yourself.
Yeah,
With
yeah.
your
You're a
guidance, you're
smart
holding
woman.
our hand. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. You're a smart woman. You know that.
Yeah.
Um, um, let me just think about it because everything that I say, I want to make sure that it's meaningful and impactful. Again, I just am being called to say that we are the only ones that keep these things alive. We are the only things. We are the only reason why we keep these things alive. So if a limiting belief still keeps resurfacing, again, just be the observer,
Yep.
say, so what? What is this showing me about myself? How is this
Yes. Yep.
protecting me or keeping me safe somehow? And then when you can find that definition, then you can release it. And it really is that simple. And usually, what I teach my clients is that once you release something,
Yep.
it's so important to replace it because if you don't replace it with something different, then you leave the space vacant and there's a more of a chance of it to come back. So going back to the gym example, which we already talked about, but if we choose to lose the belief that the motivator to going to the gym is because I feel fat, if we say that we no longer want that to serve us, and then we go in and say, I'd rather the motivation be that I just love it when I feel like I'm rocking it. And I love that feeling of feeling radiant and beautiful, then so what I'm saying is that we release that and replace it with what we actually do want and how we actually want to experience the reality, the feeling, the emotion, the external thing that we're working on, working towards, working with.
Got it. All right. And you, not only can help people with limiting beliefs, but what are some of the other things that 5 steps to alignment that you can do to help people? I know it's, well, breaking bad habits, right? Living your best potential. What other things do people come to you for? How do you help people?
Strengthening their intuition,
Got it?
a lot of self-confidence and self-esteem, lots of um really just massive amounts of internal growth, releasing and healing the past, finding that emotional and mental sovereignty so that they are no longer affected by other people or other things. A lot of what I teach too, working with me, is healthy communication and understanding others' psychology and how to navigate that intelligently so that you're not taking what they say personally, so that you can stand in your power even amidst conflict. But it's all the foundation is changing your life. upgrading your life, being your authentic self. And I know that sounds like so stapled, but like
No.
we have a human need for authenticity. Otherwise, that's why we start to feel like our spirit is slowly dying when we're not being our authentic selves. That's how we get into that state of being a zombie. It's
Ugh.
because we're not being our authentic selves. We've all
Yep.
felt it. We've all been there. we all know what
Ditto.
that's like.
Agree.
Most are still in it now, you know?
Well, let's get out of it and make it happen. You're going to inspire us, as always. And it's that one little call that can make a difference, that one little conversation. And I know you're willing to take a call from someone who's interested, who may have a question, no obligation, right? To see how you can help. And that's also someone stepping out of their comfort zone. Oh my God, limited beliefs. Can I call Haley? Can I not? You know what I'm saying? So what would you say to someone out there who's just a little wants to help, wants to feel better, wants to do better, and they're just a little hesitant today? What would you say?
I would say that the want is not frivolous.
Okay.
The want is not impulsive. It's something that has circled through your life and you're aware that it's come through multiple times.
Okay.
And this has felt in alignment with you. And so therefore it's time to act on it. Because if it keeps circling up, there's a reason. Your higher self, your consciousness, God, whoever you want to call it, is telling you something.
It's time. It's time to make that difference. And let's reach out. Tell us how we can do so.
5stepstoalignment.com.
Spelled out FIVE.
Yep.
Thank
And
you
then
so
TO.
much. Yes, you're right. I should just
Like
make
all
sure, right?
spelled out. Yeah. Yes. 5
Social
steps.
media.
Instagram, 5 Steps to Alignment. I'm also on TikTok. I have a Patreon, also LinkedIn, but truthfully, I'm most active on Instagram. That's the best way to reach me.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Always a pleasure having you here, and looking forward to, are we back again next week?
Yes.
Thank you so much. All right. Can't wait. What do you have planned for the rest of the day? Anything exciting? Are you working? What's happening?
Yeah. Today, actually, I have an easy afternoon. So this afternoon is actually for me.
Oh, good for you. A little self-care day.
Yeah,
All right.
laying out in the sun.
Oh, good for you. Enjoy, and we'll talk soon. See you next week.
Yep.
Thanks again, Haley. Bye-bye.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.